We are live. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Wheels Up New York Jets podcast. My name is Nick Teodoro. I am your host. A little bit about me. I am a lifelong Jet fan. I'm 37 years old. Much of that time has been spent growing up watching and suffering while watching the New York Football Jets. I've suffered through the Rich Kotite era. I have suffered through the Adam Gase era, but I've also seen the highs. I've also seen the highs of the 1998 Jets and what Bill Parcells brought, and the Rex Ryan era in 2009 and 2010, and where back-to-back AFC championship games. So we've experienced a lot. I've experienced a lot as a fan over my 37 years here on this earth. And which leads me to this podcast. This is my personal outlet of sorts, my solo outlet of sorts for the New York Jets. This year, a lot of high expectations for this team. And being that a lifelong fan of the team, 20 plus year published sports writer around, I wanted to be part of this. I want to document this experience, this journey, wherever it goes. So that is what this show is about. It's supposed to be dynamic, more of a conversational nature. So I put the link in below if you want to call in and talk about some of the topics. By all means, call in. I want to hear all your opinions. All opinions matter. Opinions are not obstacles on this podcast. I want to hear everyone's opinion, whether it agrees with mine or not. So it brings us to this week, this season. Obviously, the show is probably going to be a once-a-week show. For now, I haven't figured out the times just yet, but we're going to get through, try and base it a little bit off of the schedule with the Jets and where everything's going on that end. So we'll kind of play it by ear. But I am excited. Tonight is the open of our season and this fun ride. So welcome along this journey to Wheels Up.
Are you ready?
I'm gonna fight 'em all. The salvation army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna rip it off, taking their time right behind my back. And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette. And the message coming from my eyes said, leave it alone.
Welcome back in. So let's kick it off. The San Francisco 49ers host the New York Jets in what could be a preview of the Super Bowl. So I have 6, and what I'm calling Nick's 6 key matchups, takeaways to the game for the Jets to end up victorious. We start with the elephant in the room, Christian McCaffrey, right? Everybody knows, I know my wife loves this. She has him in fantasy every year. She tanks just so she can get him. He's dynamic. He is how this offense runs, in my opinion. Pun somewhat intended. How the Jets match up against Christian McCaffrey is going to dictate this game to me. There's 3 people in mind, in my opinion, that are going to cover McCaffrey. He can be split out wide as a wide receiver in the slot. He can do it in the backfield in more traditional single back sets. He's not like a Derrick Henry inside the tackles type runner, but he's very shifty and dynamic. He's more of a, I don't want to call him a scat back. It's a bad term to call him, but he's more dynamic in those spread sets where he can exploit a one-on-one matchup. These are the 3 one-on-one matchups I see the Jets having with Christian McCaffrey, especially and particularly in the passing game. CJ Mosley is the captain of the defense. He's a signal caller. He's going to get opportunities to match up against him in the passing game when he's coming out of the backfield. Quincy Williams, similarly, I think Quincy might match up better just because the sheer fact that, he's faster, he's younger. He's shown previously in the last couple of seasons that he can cover pretty well. He is a Pro Bowler. So that might be the matchup maybe over Mosley just because, again, youth and age and speed is going to be a factor. And also, the team just made Michael Carter the highest paid slot corner in the NFL. So to me, this is a point where you can earn your money. 100%. If you're throwing McCaffrey out there, if Shanahan's going to throw McCaffrey out there in the slot, I fully expect Michael Carter to be the one to cover him, unless there's some sort of Ayuk and slot, something like that. But these are the 3 matchups to me where the Jets, if they can win these matchups, these 3 players in particular can win their matchup over McCaffrey, they stand a great chance at winning. The other question I have with this whole situation is, again, we talk about the Achilles. How banged up is Christian McCaffrey? He didn't play most of the guys didn't play preseason, but now he's coming back in. He says he's ready to go, but how banged up is he? Is he slowed up enough that someone like, Quincy Williams is already fast, but someone like CJ Mosley, a little bit older, can maybe hang with him? Those are going to be those key plays to the game, those inches that, those misses on third down, things like that, where they go to him, that are going to dictate this game. So I truly want to see where this ends up and where this goes and how banged up McCaffrey is could dictate this game. That is matchup number 1 for sure for the New York Jets. Moving along, an Achilles heel for the Jets has always been the tight end, George Kittle. Still top 5 tight end in the sport. He's a veteran, coming in fresh. Seems ready to go. I have nightmares of Kyle Pitts and all those years ago. That game with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan carving us up, what was it, a year and a half ago? Just short little dink and dunks. And that's how I expect Brock Purdy to try and be successful against the Jet defense tonight. So where Kittle is going to make his money is how do we stop Kittle across the middle of the field? The tight end has always been a heel for this defense. I don't know, and I'd love to get someone on the show to talk about it a little bit more, maybe a coach, about how the cover 3 particularly defends against the tight end. Maybe that's a flaw in the cover 3. I'm not 100% sure. But George Kittle against the New York Jet defense is 100% a key matchup to this game tonight. And similarly to Christian McCaffrey, I think Kittle's going to be matched up against Quincy, CJ, and maybe Michael Carter at times. So how they defend him, do they double team him in certain scenarios? Do they bracket him? I don't know what Robert Saleh and Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, are really thinking about. How do they stop Kittle? Because Kittle's going to be a nightmare. He can become a nightmare for this team in this game, and it's very concerning to me. George Kittle, matchup number 2. Key number 3, Trent Williams held out. Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk held out most of the training camp. They just recently got back. Where do they stand with this team? And I think this is going to be a key factor. You need to build chemistry with your teammates. Now, I know these guys have been there. I know they're Ayuk's 25. Trent Williams is 36. He's a veteran. He's been through it all. He is one of the best left tackles in the game. how do I want to phrase this? Is he in game shape? Is there any rust that he has to work off of? And don't forget, too, that offensive line is not the same San Francisco offensive line it's been. There's a lot of different pieces moving around there. The right tackle is very weak. This is a line that's been built up years and years with Lakin, the ex-Jet great, Lakin Tomlinson, right? He was there how many years ago? This is not the same offensive line. Yeah, they'll still be solid. I think it'll still be a top maybe 15 offensive line because they're well coached, but it's not the same offensive line. And Trent Williams missing time could very well hurt that offensive line. We know this Jet defensive line feasts. They love to feast against a weak offensive line. And if they're just a little bit off, a little bit sluggish, Jermaine Johnson, hopefully Will McDonald shows up tonight and shows us why he was a first-round pick. That pass rush, Quinnen Williams, that can get home. Similarly, Brandon Ayuk, again, 25 years old, just got the contract. How much of that chemistry? How much of that chemistry is still, there? How much of that timing is he going to have with Brock Purdy night one? Offenses traditionally struggle on early in the season anyhow. Being a week out, just a week's worth of practice. I know he had a successful year last year. He's coming off a great year, but I'm not 100% sure 1 week of practice is enough. He might be a factor. He probably will still get some targets for sure. He'll definitely get targets, and could be a factor, and will be a factor, I should say. But how much does that time off and that missed training camp time for Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams hurt the San Francisco 49ers? I don't know. I think it's definitely feasible. Moving along. Key matchup to the offensive side of the football. Tyler Conklin against Devondre Campbell. This is going to be a key matchup in this game. I think Garrett Wilson is going to get his numbers. He's going to get his looks. But it's going to be the secondary and tertiary players that are going to be factors. And Tyler Conklin is going to be a key factor in this game. I truly believe he's going to get more than 5 targets. And when you look at Fred Warner's probably going to match up against Breece Hall. If I were Kyle Shanahan on defense, that's how I would play it. So Garrett Wilson's looking at potential double teams, right? Breece Hall's probably covered by Fred Warner. Who's the secondary, tertiary guy that's going to make an impact? Tyler Conklin is that guy. I could see him doing catching a play action pass from the 5-yard line and punching one in that way. Maybe splitting him out wide and trying a fade. But he can control the middle of the field. And against that 49ers defense, I think he can feast. Mike Williams making his Jet debut tonight. I think now, I know what you're going to say. He hasn't played in a while. I'm not concerned. I think he's ready to go. I think he's healthy and ready to go. When this guy plays, I had him on my fantasy team last year or the year before. When he plays, he puts up numbers. He plays like a top 15 wide receiver in the game. And he's our wide receiver too. So I truly believe against the secondary cornerback, they call him Demo. I can't pronounce his name. Demo Lenore. I think Mike Williams is going to feast against the secondary. He's a key player. He's 6'4". Lenore is 5'10". If I were Aaron Rodgers, Rodgers knows that. That's a blatant mismatch. If Williams can still run the way that he ran the last couple of years, which I truly believe he can, he's going to exploit that mismatch. That size mismatch in the red zone is going to be a key. I truly expect this to be a very key point to the game. We haven't seen Mike Williams do anything. I mean, I had to use a Charger picture to find something of him. I truly believe Mike Williams is going to have a big game tonight. Finally, special teams. It's going to come down to special teams. I legitimately feel this game is going to be a field goal game. You have Jake Moody, you have Greg the Leg, two very good, very accurate kickers, long ranges. This game's going to come down to a final possession. I truly believe that. And my concern as a Jet fan is Greg Zuerlein missed a couple of kicks. Plain simple, he's missed a couple of kicks in preseason. And I don't know if you attribute that to just working out the kinks, and hopefully he's worked out all the kinks, but I'm not sold on him just yet. That everything worked out. I'm concerned that it could come down to a field goal, and the game will be on the line, and one of these two kickers is going to have a chance to win this game. And I truly believe it'll probably be the Jets. I think Greg the Leg will be there, and I hope that all the kinks in the preseason and his misses are out of his system, and now the game's on and he'll hit. Jake Moody had one miss in the preseason as well. So he wasn't perfect by far, but somehow the better in me wishes that Moody would have been perfect in the preseason, so he would be due. I don't know. I'm weird like that, but I truly believe the special teams is going to be a key to this game. And not only that, with the new dynamic kickoff rule that we've been seeing, where the ball has to land inside the 20 and it must be returned, that could change this dynamic of this game. Pun not intended, but it could change the outcome of this game if one of these returners breaks one out. So the better special teams in this game is going to win. And that probably should also include, obviously, well, it does include the punting team too, but I don't anticipate a lot of, field position battles. I do think this is going to be not a shootout, but a relatively high scoring for us Jet fan, a relatively high scoring game. I don't know. Those are my 6 takeaways for tonight's game. What do you all think as Jet fans, 49er fans? Yeah. Who you guys got tonight? Feel free as you're coming in, if you want to call in, talk Jets. The link is in the video below, or the link is in the description if you want to call in. Leave it up for a couple minutes here, but yeah, it's exciting. It's a big night. Jets 49ers, the run to the Super Bowl. We know why they do it. We know why they play.
This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
Play to win the game. Everybody. Don't you forget. So, anyway, this has been fun. I'm going to cut this short, but I will be back. I don't know. I think I'm probably going to do this. Part of me is thinking Saturday night. Probably Saturday nights. But I kind of want to coincide with how the Jets schedule is, and they have a million primetime games this year, so who knows? But that being said, I think this is a fun way to end it. I will leave you all with one last New York Jets inspired drop.
Make sure we play like the New York Jets and not some slap team. That's what I want to see tomorrow. Do we understand what the I want to see tomorrow? Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Gotta love Rex. I'm glad he didn't come back to coach. I just can't see him being a coordinator again. Anyway, this has been fun. I will catch you all Saturday, I guess. Probably Saturday night. I think that's what I'm aiming for. So get ready. If you all want to call in, feel free to call in. But till then, get ready for the game. Tonight, the journey begins for the New York Jets. Wheels up.